Hi, I am Kidger on two wheels, and today we are back at MJ Paiva to test ride the Tracer 700. Note, I'm the happy owner of one of the old ones. So, the new Tracer 700. I own the old one, so I'm going to do this review in two parts. One, the improvements from the new to the old, and two, the bike by itself, the normal review. Improvements firsthand. So, the original Tracer had a few nagging issues due to it being built for a certain price point, and the first nagging issue was the suspension. It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't great either. It was just average, which on a great bike, it felt out of sorts. Yamaha fixed that, and on this one we have adjustable front suspension, in tension only. But it is adjustable and it is improved, and you need only to get on it and ride 10 meters and you'll notice the difference immediately. Second little nag, which was the biggest one for me personally, the headlights. In 2017 when this came out, or 2016, the headlamps were still halogen, which was a bit ridiculous, especially because they had a great headlamp assembly, LED for the Tracer 900. They could just have imported here, which they did not. Finally, we have LED headlamps on the Tracer, and as a bonus we also have LED indicators front and rear. So full LED bike finally in 2020. Well done, Yamaha. Third little nag is that the dash buttons, the dash control buttons, were on the dash. Since this was imported from the MT-07, it looked fine. Thing is, the MT-07 has no furniture here on this area, so it's easy to access the dash. This one does not, and so it is still a bit weird to press the buttons on the dash on this one. If you have any accessories on the accessory bar, it gets really hard, and if you have a ton of accessories, like I did in the Portuguese end-to-end, where I had a big road book here and the cell phone here, pressing those buttons to reset the kilometers for navigation was a pain. Now that has been fixed, and they're all done via this little button on your left handlebar, which is great. And that's all the nags. Other than the nags, they also improved the seat. The stock seat is much more comfortable than the original one. I have the comfort seat, so this is still a bit worse than mine, but this one's actually kind of close. I'll try it out when I start riding for a long time, and I'll tell you how that is. Also, the windscreen. They imported this, they stole this directly from the Tracer 900, and I'm not complaining. It was not needed, because at this price point, the other system of a couple of knobs is perfectly fine. It's normal for the price range, but this is miles better. So, thanks Yamaha. It's a bonus, and what a bonus! That's brilliant. That's super simple and super brilliant. When it's loose, it sounds kind of iffy because there's a lot of loose parts there, but when you lock it, it's locked, and there's little to no sound on it. Well done, Yamaha. That's how we want to do it. You also have two little holes there for a 12-volt charger and a 5-volt charger if you want to install them. And that's it. The rest of it is the normal Tracer 700, which is comprised of a perfectly normal road-going wheels, 17-inch rims, 120, 180. The 180 at the rear is not very normal because this engine has a lot of torque, so Yamaha put a 180 tire at the rear for a bit more grip. And even so, this engine can break traction on that fat tire. One thing I really like that Yamaha does and keeps doing is that these are not El Cheapo tires. These are Michelin Pilot Road 4s, which are a great set of tires. They're great for rain, they're great for road, they're great for sports, they're great for commuting. An awesome all-round tires, and I love them. I wore one of these down. I then bought the Road 5s, and I still love them. Great tires, and I really like when manufacturers give us good tires straight out of the box. Other than that, your regular commuting bike. It's a bit impolite calling this a commuting bike, but it's a regular bike, 700cc engine, parallel with 70 and a lot horsepower. That doesn't matter. What matters is the insane amount of torque this engine produces. This is the best engine you can have for a 700cc bike-ish, 600 to 750. This is the best engine you can have, bar none. There are no engines like it, and it is an awesome, awesome engine. It is known. No one disagrees with this. Bolted to a fairly good chassis with now fairly good suspension. So it is a very, very nice bike. Doesn't have any frills, doesn't have any great innovations. It is just a very, very nice package. Slim, not very tall, not very short, not very fat, not very thin, not very heavy, and not too light. 196 kilograms, fully laden with fuel and everything all the way up to the top. Very simple. You might notice it has a top case because I requested the top case. This is actually my top case. You can see the GoPro sticker here. Because I want to test this as close as possible to my own bike, so I can tell you the differences in it, because I'm very curious about what they do to the suspension on this bike, and if the 1 horsepower it was lost due to the new engine regulations, is it felt or not? I don't think it will be, but let's see. It also has a new set of more elegant fairings, which come all the way from the top of the bike all the way down, instead of stopping somewhere in the middle like my old one. So all in all, I really like this bike, and I haven't actually begun to ride in it. So let's see how this rides. So you wanted the test track. Wait just a moment, because this bike is also made for in-city riding. Remember, this is a do-it-all, and to do it all, it needs to work here, in town. Granted, this is a bit of a wide in town, but we'll get to the twistier bits in a moment. In here, it is still a comfortable bike. I noticed that the handlebars are all wrong. They're very different from the old one. They're not wrong, they're just completely different from the old one, the one I have. And so my brain is breaking trying to figure out how to ride this, because I'm sitting as if it's mine. I feel as if it's my bike, but the handlebar's in the wrong position. So I'm kind of all bunched up, and my shoulders are hurting because my brain hasn't yet comprehended that the arms are supposed to be in a slightly different position. But they feel wider. I'm sure, I'm 100% sure they are wider, like so. My arms are spread further apart, and they also seem to be rotated forwards and slightly bent in. I think they're just different. They're wider, which is nice. The wide part, I'm 100% sure they are wider. Onto the worst pavement I can find here. Should I overtake this bus? That's not bad. That's actually surprisingly good. I'm gonna go right here, and there it goes again. This was actually surprisingly good. I wasn't expecting it to be this plush. It just worked. How? I don't know. But it just did. It did work very well indeed. So it just felt, well, as stiff as it should be, but quite comfortable. The seat is also very nice. It is much better than the original one. It is almost on par with my comfort seat for the original Tracer 700. So if the comfort seat is the same, it's just really not worth it, to be honest, because it'll be so close to this as to make it not worth the upgrade, because this is actually a pretty good seat. So the test track. I don't seem to be missing the 1 horsepower. It's irrelevant. However, cornering is much of the same, except better. The improved suspension is, surprise surprise, actually improved. I was actually... Let's test here. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I was expecting more marketing than actual improvements on the suspension, but no. Gone is that underdampened feel that the original has, the mine has, where the front is a bit bobbing and weaving a bit. It's not a lot, but it is noticeable. Here, it is just rock steady. And I'm already pushing way more than I should. But this bike really draws that out of you. Wow! Wowee! This was... I'm sorry for being silent, but I was just enjoying myself, to be honest. I completely forgot. And that's the best I can say of this. I just forgot. That was just so much fun. It is super planted and super steady, way more than I would expect from what should be a small increase in suspension performance, which is not quite that small. I set the suspension settings to be half. Out of 12 clicks it's on 6, so it's a kind of an in-between setting between the plushness for city riding and firmness for that. I do not want anything too extreme for any of those. So let's go for some standard middle of the road setting. And wowee, what a ride! The rear feels much the same, to be honest. No, not big difference there, because the big thing was the front, which on mine is, even though I just recharged mine, I put new oil on mine, and it is miles better than it used to be, because, well, it was old oil. It's still way worse than this one. Okay, I'm exaggerating a bit. The difference isn't that extreme, but it is there and it is felt. Anyone with an original Tracer 700 can go and try this one, and they will feel the difference, especially here. This is my bad pavement test, and while here is just mildly bad, down there is going to be much worse. But even here, this is much more comfortable than it should be. Usually when manufacturers improve their suspensions, they just make it stiffer, and that's it. Well, not usually, because this is one of those cases where they actually put in better quality suspension and it is noticed. And on the fast twisties, where it's no longer at 80 kph or 60 kph, where it is 100 and above, it's still much of the same. The front still goes light when you full throttle it, but this time you retain grip instead of it just going light and wobbly. I feel it trying to lift, but it's still attached to the ground. And over these wobbles, in case you don't know the channel, this road in particular is not a... It is a great road, but the pavement is very undulating. There's lots of dips, and even mid-corner there's little bumps, but it's very undulating, it's not flat. So the suspension does have a workout here, even at these speeds. Each one of these discolorations is a slight bump, and this one is just gliding over it as if it was a sports bike. It's just going, yeah, right, yeah, I'm done for this, so don't worry, just do your thing and I'll do my thing. That's also why I have all these weird lines, because I'm trying to avoid the dangerous parts, like this dirt here. And as you can see, high speed, good rhythm, and the bike is not throwing me anywhere. It's just smoothly going forwards, just like a sports bike would. It's just fun. And for these kinds of roads, these open roads, open, fun, sporty roads, this is currently the best middleweight bike you can buy. The Tracer said the old one was the best one, and this one improved on what was already the best. Amazing. Completely amazing. Of this very competitive market, from all the manufacturers, where actually each of them has a slightly different product. Honda has the perfect commuting bike, which is this engine limited to 6,000 RPM. Takes all the fun out of it, but it is very economical, and it is a great commuting bike. Suzuki has one that can do some light off-road, which this one can't. This one just does the off-road any motorcycle can. The Suzuki can do a little bit more, and it is also pretty good on the road. This one's better on the road. The Versys is the long-range tourer. This one, the Tracer, is the one that does everything. Well, not the off-road part, but it can do all of the things and do them very well, and then it is by far the best for sport riding. And for that, this is an amazing machine. Now, right as it is now, this one, it's just like a sports bike up there, but you're sitting upright instead of being hunched over, which is great. I'm falling in love again. And I've done all of this with the top case. Okay, and on that top case is a heavy backpack with all my GoPro stuff. So I've tested this just like I did with my bike. So I rode this the way I rode my bike, and it is amazing. I really like this wider handlebar, which gives me a lot of leverage and gives me, it feels like I have more control on the bike because I have an easier time directing it. Wow. What an achievement, Yamaha. You had a great bike and you made it even better. It's not better by a lot, but let's say it's like 15% better, which usually costs an arm, a leg and an eye, but in this case it didn't cost all that much. The slight price increase, we've got some great new looks, and we even got better performance. Wow, well done, Yamaha. So how does these upgraded LED lamps fare? Well, I can see everything 30 meters in front. If I put in the high beams, I can see everything forever. These are actual dual LEDs, so both light up, both low beams and high beams, which is great, so there's no loss. And as a slight added bonus, when you tilt the bike you can't see where you're going. But this is normal for these LED headlamps. Where there is no light, there is no light. However, these do bleed a little bit up, so you are not 100% blind, but it's still not enough. But it is what it is. They are strong enough to easily, like this, warn the car that I'm incoming. And wow, that's quite a difference. Oh, you can see here the light bleed. See, it's not a lot, but at least it's not completely dark on the inside of the corners. It's just still not enough. But LED headlamps are like this by design, because they cannot have any light bleed or else they'll dazzle every single oncoming car. And so it simply is. It's a trade-off between the halogens, which you are also seeing as a comparison, where you can't see anything in front of you or to the sides, but you can see when you're cornering, you can see a little bit better. And the trade-off is that on a straight line you can't see much. This you can see perfectly well on a straight line, but you can't see much when you're cornering. Allows you to go fast on a straight and then slow down for the corners, which is kind of what you should be doing. So in conclusion, what is this? This is a new and improved product which needed no improvements, and yet here we are. Price tag has risen as these things are normal to do. So now it is 8,700 euros, which puts it in the middle of the range. It's not the most expensive, but it is also not the cheapest, and it offers a lot for the money they ask. It is actually a proper sports bike. It rides like a proper sports bike, which is uncanny, and yet in town it rides like a city bike. So I've always liked the Tracer. I've always thought it is the best bike to buy at the moment for general use. If you do a bit of everything, this is the best one to buy. And this one is even better. It's not a ton better, but it is enough that you feel the difference. Usually when these bikes are improved, the differences are just small things that they don't even warrant a second test drive. It's just a facelift with a couple of improvements and some little nags and some reduction in vibration and 5 more horsepower, things like that. But this one's an actual felt improvement. I'm actually quite impressed because I made sure that I try this one as close as I could to my own bike. That's why we have the top case, and yet I feel a difference. I feel quite a large difference. Okay, it's not quite a large, it's not night and day, but it is felt. Okay, I feel that this new suspension is better. The whole bike feels nimbler, lighter. It is amazing what a set of suspension can actually do. Or rather, it is not amazing, it is what it is there to do so. And so now it is even better. Awesome. So if you're on the fence, yeah, this is worth it. This is very much worth it. And we've got new good looks. Some people seem to not like the new looks for some reason. They say they prefer the old one. For those people, I can give you a good optometrist to help you with that issue, okay? Okay, so that's it. A beautiful bike and beautiful surroundings in a beautiful day. Great. That's it. Cager out.